Hi, I'm Bill McLaughlin, Editor-in-Chief of Furniture Today. I'm here with Scott Bailey of Target Data, and we're going to talk about people-based marketing. We were talking with Heather before about how you guys help, in particular, furniture companies, right? And she had talked about how your company deals with Fortune 100s, but furniture companies is a whole different animal.
It really comes down to a few things. Furniture companies already naturally are people-based kinds of thinkers, right? They don't think about the world as necessarily as markets. They think about it as they're people who are buying furniture for particular needs, and they're not one-offs. In other words, furniture companies don't tend to think about things in terms of transactions. They tend to think about things in terms of the value of a customer. What is the value of the home? What is the lifetime value of the customer? What can I do for you over and over and over again? So we really found the opportunity to say it's a perfect situation for data-driven kind of marketing that has a forward kind of view to it. So rather than thinking about does someone ring the register, it's more how do I establish a relationship with this individual that I can track over time, that I can make sure that I'm satisfying needs over time. And that's really what data-driven marketing lets you do. It sounds kind of scientific, right? But data-driven marketing really is all more about how can I understand more about the consumer such that I can make sure that I bring them the right solution and that I deal with them long term.
Now, does this also change the communication methods? Because when you think about traditional media, right, I'm going to make my media selections that give me the broadest possible umbrella of reach. It sounds to me like what you're talking about is, again, a little more focused and individual. When you say people-based, you almost mean individual.
Absolutely. And the other term you'll hear a lot is addressable media. So we're more interested in the media that can be addressed directly to you. So how do I utilize a media channel that allows me to communicate with you in a way that is relevant to you? And the great thing about that is that media is growing. So now your display media that you receive on your mobile phone or on your laptop, that's all addressable now. We can actually go to the people that we want to talk to with the message that we want them to receive and not have to go to a lot of people that we don't necessarily need to.
One of the things that's always a challenge for a retailer, even with traditional media, is measuring ROI, right? I've heard retailers say, well, if I run an ad, I get a lift. In terms of this kind of approach, how do they look at, or how should they look at our ROI, and how do they measure that?
Probably the biggest thing that this approach allows you to do is to measure ROI in the correct manner, which is against a control group. Probably the easiest category to understand the difference or the idea of the control group is in clinical trials, right? Whenever somebody's bringing a drug to market. So they'll have a test group who receives the drug and a control group who doesn't receive the drug. Well, the same sort of thing happens in addressable marketing now. Because of the fact that I can send things to you and not send them to me, then I can act as the control group for you. So if I want to measure whether or not my marketing was effective, well, let me look at what happens when you receive it and I don't. If you and I are the same sort of consumer, then I can measure, well, if Bill bought, then the marketing was effective with the control group of Scott. If Bill bought and Scott bought, well, then the marketing wasn't very effective because they would have bought anyway. So that idea of having a comparative group, or in technical jargon, a control group, is what's really important to really measure ROI. Otherwise, you can get three different agencies that you work with coming in and saying, oh, we drove $1 million for you. And then somebody else comes in and says, well, no, we drove that $1 million for you. And then somebody else comes in and, no, wait a second, we had $500,000 of that we drove. You have to be able to separate those out by being able to hold some of that media off of people so that you can always make that comparison between who got it and who did not. And that's the way to measure effective ROI.
People-based marketing for the modern home furnishing retailer. Retailers today have the ability to leverage data like never before. Marketing dollars can be spent across online and offline channels, targeting actual people, not audiences or segments. Target Data exists to simplify people-based marketing, marketing to the known. Customer and transaction data is quickly leveraged to form the foundation for all marketing efforts. In today's world, media is a commodity. Conversation should be about actual people, not CPMs or channels. People-based marketing allows the right people to be reached with the right message at the right time. Measurement becomes simple, and all marketing efforts can be tied to revenue. The future of marketing is people-based. Are you ready to leverage the power of your data?